Welcome to La's Pod. I'm La, and this is my pod. The purpose of this pod is so that you've got a voice to listen to, and I've got an ear to yap in. Today is Saturday, January 17th, and welcome back to the pod. If you've been here before, glad to have you. If this is your first listen, thanks for choosing us. You may have noticed that it's been about 2 weeks since we chatted last. I did record 2 episodes between the first episode and what will now be episode 2, but both of those just weren't speaking to me. They didn't feel right. They didn't flow. The topics weren't awesome. So I just said, you know what, we're early enough in the pod's history that I think it's okay if I just kind of bag those episodes and just keep on going. Hopefully this week will be a lot smoother, a little bit more of the vibe that we're going for, and to, keep you guys entertained while you're doing whatever you're doing. This week in general for me felt like it had mostly ups, not too many downs. Nothing was exactly bad, nothing was exactly amazing. The weather here has been doing all kinds of crazy stuff, so I think that made me a little more tired than usual. We had a squall. Squalls are like these crazy heavy snowstorms that kind of come in really heavy and fast and then dump a ton of snow and move on. That was crazy. It was a lot of snow really fast. The wind was crazy. Today, it's bitter cold. I've taken the dogs out a couple of times, and both times we've ended up shortening our walk or turning back a little early just because it is so cold. Weather in the Midwest is a little bit wild. I know my family on the East Coast has been getting some snow too. So it's just that time of year where it's dark and it's cold and you never know what the weather's going to look like. I have officially started telling people that the pod exists. So if you are one of those people that got the okay to start listening to the pod this week, I'm happy to be sharing this with you. If you have shared it with your friends, welcome to them. Or if you're just, as I said before, new to the pod, we are so happy that you are here. As I mentioned, the main reason I made this pod is just so you have something to kind of throw on in the background while you're doing the dishes, driving around, doing your makeup, to have something to keep you informed or just give you the highlights, because I know that that's what would interest me. So I just want to share kind of my day-to-day with you during your day-to-day. I went out for drinks yesterday night with some of my husband's coworkers / my friends. We got free margaritas. They were delicious, but they were very sugary. So I ended up waking up quite a bit last night just from the sugar alone. I also had some buffalo chicken dip, which was delicious, but the acid reflux was getting to me. Ooh. So this morning when I synced my Oura Ring up to the app, my Oura Ring yelled at me because I didn't really get very restful sleep. And what it said as a solution was don't drink alcohol or eat any fried foods before going to bed. And I was like, yeah, busted. That was definitely me. I don't necessarily deal with the worst hangovers in the world, but as you get older, that bounce back is a little bit slower. So at 2:30, I was throwing back the Tums and taking an Advil just in case. And I was desperate for water. But those sugary drinks, man, they really get to you. I'm typically a gin girly. I love a good gin martini or a gin and tonic. I don't often reach for margaritas anymore. I used to love a spicy marg or just a margarita in general because I do like tequila. I like the taste of it. Recently, I've just really been sticking with my gins. So 2 margaritas was enough last night. It definitely was enough. But it was really great catching up with everybody, having, a little bit of time just to see people that I hadn't seen in a little bit and chat and have some snacks. So if you have been thinking about getting your friends together for a little while and just haven't been able to make it work, make it work. It's always good to see friends whenever you can and just get that socialization. So this is my encouragement to you to go out and get everybody together and just go grab a drink or go grab a snack or do something fun. Speaking of snacks, Aldi has been killing it with the snacks recently. I went there twice in the past 2 weeks, which is a lot for me. I don't go to Aldi that often. We typically go to the Meijer, which is more of like a big box grocery store here where I live, and get our food there. But I pop by Aldi and they just have some good stuff right now. They've got some good healthy snacks, stuff that we would regularly get at like Target for a lot more money. They have their own brands of it now, particularly like chips and crunchy foods. They have a lot of quote unquote healthy alternatives, like made with like avocado oil or substituting like lentil or chickpea flour for traditional flour, that kind of stuff. So we got the avocado oil kettle chips. We got the hint of lime tortilla chips, and they're the cassava chips that are kind of like the siete ones. They had those. We got these coconut mango clusters, which were really good as like a little sweet treat. And then we also recently got their no sugar added gelato. We did the fudgy cookie dough flavor. Really good. That lasted like maybe 2 days. So if you're in the line for some snacks, but you don't want to feel super guilty about having a little sweet treat every now and again, I would pop by your local Aldi if you've got one. If we had a closer Trader Joe's, I would be there too all the time. But the closest one to us is pretty far away. So we stick with our Aldi, and it does the trick. And I'm glad to be going back there again. I was actually doing a little bit of food shopping before recording the pod. And I think I'm going to do most of the shopping this week there because they've got some stuff that looks really good, particularly like some Indian food that looks delicious. They've got a birria chuck roast that I think we're going to get. And everything's pretty fairly priced, so we're going to change it up this week. Other news this week, I've been much better about reading. I've been able to get at least 2 to 3 chapters of my book in every day. So if you've been hoping to get back on a reading kick or just need a break from your phone, I always love grabbing a good book. This is your reminder to get your minutes in on your book reading and just pick the book up, put the phone down, and remind yourself that reading is good. Reading is fundamental, as they say, because it is good to be back in my book. It took me like 2 days to really get back into a rhythm of it, but now that I'm sort of back into it, for those of you who are just catching up, I'm reading Zodiac Academy. I'm on book number 7. It's good to be back in that world and, going on that journey with these characters, and it's just fun to be reading again in general. I've tried a few new things in addition to the Aldi stuff, particularly the new Alani cherry bomb flavor. I really liked it. I am not always big on cherry flavored things, but it kind of got like a raspberry chocolate, obviously cherry flavor. A friend of mine said that they were told it tastes like Dr. Pepper, which I guess it does, sort of. There's a Dr. Pepperiness to it, but I don't dislike it. So if you're an energy drink person and you like Alani's, I would recommend just trying it. Of the specialty flavors that I've had of theirs in the past, I would say that this is close to one of my favorites thus far. It's very much up my alley. So that was a good try this week. I also used the Good Patch Unwrinkle patches. So basically they're like these little stickers almost that have microneedles in them. And then you wear them for 2 hours or up to overnight. I wore them overnight. They kind of hurt to put on because of the microneedles, but I do feel like they work. When I woke up the next morning, I do feel like some of my fine lines, particularly I've noticed the ones right above my eyebrows because I'm a pretty expressive person. I have these wrinkles that are developing on my forehead. They were much better. They were definitely much better. I love trying that kind of new stuff, and I know sometimes people have sensitive skin, but if you're looking for something that's a little bit heavier than just like a Frowny or the silicone tape, I would give these a try. They were about $15 for 5 patches. So I've got one left over. I think I'm going to go get some more because it really is kind of like a one night use. You obviously can't reuse them. For areas like your smile lines or maybe around your eyes, I'd be nervous to put a microneedle around my eyes, but 3 or 4 of them you need for a forehead at least. So it kind of isn't the most effective for long term in my opinion, but for something to try just to see, like if you had an event or if you wanted to really target an area, these would be worth giving a try. So it's the Good Patch Unwrinkle Patches. I'm also trying the Rock Fill and Treat Serum. The product itself is kind of like a skinny tube with almost like a lip gloss dispenser on the end. It's supposedly got like triple hyaluronic acid or some kind of serum, and then I think it has retinol in it, but basically it's meant to sort of super plump up your skin like right away, but also long term help treat some of those fine lines and wrinkles. I would say that it's working. I haven't been super consistent with it. This past week, I only got it a couple days ago. The first few days I used it, I did like it. You're supposed to use it at night, but I don't wear a lot of makeup typically, so I have been putting it on in the mornings as well. I like doing most of my skincare in the morning, so I might switch it over and see if I can use it at night. Because it's sort of a retinol type product, they recommend like kind of slowing your body into it versus using it every day, twice a day, that kind of thing. I already use a retinol, so my skin's pretty used to those kinds of products, so I might up the usage a little bit. I did try a new moisturizer as well because I emptied out. I was using the Verb moisturizer. I emptied that out, and so I'm trying the Meyer kind of dupe for the L'Oreal Micro Sculpting Cream. I think that might get returned. It's pilling quite a bit on my skin, especially like after I use some of my products. And it's very heavy and very fragranced. So I'm not sure if that's for me. I think I'm going to return it and maybe exchange it more for like a water-based kind of moisturizer, or more of like I don't know, just a lighter product, because I just don't know if that's doing it for me. And I don't like that it feels like I'm exfoliating my skin when I put my moisturizer on. I feel like that's the opposite of what it's supposed to be doing. I also had fun this week with a new product. For Christmas, my sister bought me these heated eye masks that came from Japan. And they're meant to kind of help soothe the eyes, help with migraines. I am someone who sits in front of a computer 98% of my day between my jobs. And I would say it helped a lot. I was dealing with a little bit of eye strain. They had a nice, pleasant smell too, which I liked. And it was very warming. So basically, it's almost like a hand warmer, but for your eyes. And I just put an audiobook on, closed my eyes, put the little heaters on. They last about 20 minutes. So it was a good little sort of reset, turn off, self-care that I really appreciated. So thanks, Court, for the nice Christmas gift. I really liked it. As far as sort of what my husband and I have been up to, we've been watching Fallout, the new season. I'm not really a big video game girly per se, but he's played the Fallout games. The first season was really, really good. I say that because you don't have to know the video game to enjoy the show. There are certain references that he catches, or certain things that he's like, oh, they're going to do that? That's really cool, in reference to the game. But as someone who's not familiar with the game, I have really enjoyed the show. The first season was excellent. We've enjoyed the second season a lot too. I know it hasn't been quite as popular this season, but I do enjoy it. I think it's a lot more story based this time versus season one was a little more action. But I'm enjoying it a lot. I think it's really well developed. It's worth a shot if you haven't tried it yet, or if you're just looking for a new show, want something with a little bit more depth to it, or just like a little bit of whimsical. It's not whimsical in like a fairy kind of way, but because it's sort of this alternate world, post-apocalyptic, it's definitely got some really unique characters and character building and concepts, and sometimes some really deep, reflective kind of social commentary. So it's on Amazon. Again, it's Fallout. It's worth a shot. But so that's kind of what I've been up to these past 2 weeks. I feel like that's quite a bit that I threw at you already. But let's get going with our next little segment here. All right, so now that we're all caught up with what I did last week, we're also going to catch up with what I saw while scrolling. That's our next little segment here. The purpose of this segment is just to kind of keep you caught up with what's popular on social media, what people are posting a ton of, celebrity gossip, kind of like stuff that you might see while you're sitting around, give you a 10-minute break from looking at your own phone. So I looked at it for you. So, a bulk of what people are talking about right now is Heated Rivalry. It's the TV show on HBO, which is based off the book, also called Heated Rivalry. It talks about a pair of gentlemen who are both hockey players, professional hockey players, who have an intimate relationship. It's really been blown up. It was already kind of a popular book, and then the TV show has really become something over the past couple of weeks. I haven't started watching the show yet. I have started reading the book. I'm enjoying it so far. I would say I dabble in the smut world, but I haven't dabbled in this pond yet. The story's pretty good. I look forward to watching the actual show. I'm not sure I would have reached for it otherwise, so we love something that's going to challenge our boundaries. The actors seem to be really cool dudes, so I'm seeing a lot of content with them. The also interesting thing I learned about the show is that the gentleman who directed Heated Rivalry is also the same guy who directed and acted in Letterkenny. Letterkenny is another hockey-based show, which I love. It's hilarious. It's Canadian in its styling and its actors. But it's a very different vibe from Heated Rivalry. But I think it's really cool that, you know, a hockey guy is making another hockey show and kind of testing the boundaries of what it means to be a hockey fan. So if you're into Heated Rivalry, there's a lot of content right now going on with that. The Golden Globes also happened over the past week. Not a ton from that perspective. Nikki Glaser hosted. She was very popular again. The fashions were kind of lukewarm this year. I have a girlfriend who basically said, like, she thought it was one of the most boring Golden Globes she's ever seen. I thought there was a lot of old Hollywood references. I think some classic silhouettes. No one really challenged the boundaries, though, of fashion in my perspective. The men have been doing better in general, kind of pushing the tuxedo look and finding ways to make it more interesting or accessorizing in new ways. But I think as far as the fashions go, there wasn't anything that like absolutely shook me. I will say Kylie Jenner's look, that silver dress she wore, was really beautiful. She looked fabulous, but other than that, there wasn't anything that really took my breath away personally. You know, if you're a fashion girly, it's worth just taking a look at what they wore, and you know, we always love a judging of the fashions, so that's worth checking out. Marcelo Hernandez has been all over the place. He is on a press tour right now for his Netflix comedy special. So I've been seeing a lot of content for him. If you don't know who he is one of the new young actors from SNL. Everyone's talking about how he has like major golden retriever energy. He has this whole bit about how he has ADD, but his mom wouldn't let him have ADD, so he doesn't have ADD. It's funny. It's cute. It's a good little bit. I'm probably going to watch the special, honestly, because I do think he's funny. So that will be something that will be coming up this week for me. A lot of this 2026 to 2016 flashbacks has been very popular. People posting photos of themselves from 2016. It's obviously been 10 years since 2016, so they want to there's something about like bringing back the energy of 2016 or bringing back the vibes of 2016. So that's been fun to see, some, flashbacks of people's photos, what we used to dress like, how we acted. It was very different, wasn't it? I have not posted anything for the 2016 flashbacks. I don't think I will. But I was going through some of my old photos, and it was just kind of funny to see what we used to post. I mean, I'm living for it, but, it's just different time. Kind of a cute little thing I saw was this post about a dog that has narcolepsy, and when he gets excited, he just kind of falls asleep. And he was excited because it snowed in his backyard. So he was running around in the snow, and then all of a sudden he would just kind of like lay down. And he had like a little doggy friend who would come over and check on him. And then he would get back up and play again. And then he would get too excited and he would fall asleep again. So it was really cute, this little dog with narcolepsy.